Hey guys, what's up? It's Elements here. I wanted to make a video about the planned 4.3 itemization changes, which includes boots, dual lane gold items, D-shield, and ruby crystal, and those are all things that affect my lane as a support player, so I'd like to give my opinion on them. First off, let's start talking about the boots of lucidity nerf with the CDR. 15% to 10% CDR. Granted, the total cost has been dropped down by 200 gold. And his reasoning here is, you want some cheap boot items or cheap options for boots for people to get behind. I understand that, and they don't feel that 15% is that great of a stat because it's kind of an odd amount of CDR compared to the other items. But I don't know if I like this change a lot because there's a lot of champions that really need the CDR and find it really vital, even though it is 15% and even though it doesn't stack up well with other items, it still fits a good role for a lot of champions. So I don't know how I feel about this change. It's good and it's bad. I can see both the positives and the negatives in it, and I ultimately think we're just going to have to wait and see how it plans out. I am kind of sad that it's getting reduced like that. I kind of wish it was more, maybe like 900 gold and still like 15% or something like that. Kind of like a middle ground, because I don't think dropping it to 10% and is that great of an idea. But that's really all I got to say about the boots of lucidity there. My bigger issue is actually with the boots of mobility, and it's the base movement speed here being dropped from 45 to 25. So boots of mobility, if you don't know, make you run really fast if you're out of combat. If you're out of combat for a little while, it increases your movement speed like way better, so you can roam, and it's very powerful on roaming supports and junglers. And I guess they didn't want the base movement speed to be that good, but I think dropping it down by a whole 20 movement speed, like that's so much. That hurts you so bad. And again, granted, it's 200 gold less, but I'd rather see that number honestly sit around 30 to 35. I think that's more of realistic nerf, because I feel like dropping those down really does hurt. A lot of supports and a lot of junglers, and I don't think that they need to do that. I don't think you need to drop down, to that severity. I honestly think exactly what I said with the boots of lucidity. If it was more like 35 and this was more like 900, I think that'd be a little bit more balanced in terms of if they want to nerf it, because I think both these nerfs are a little bit too much than what they should be. And that's really all I got to say about the boots right now, and we're kind of just gonna have to see how they play out. Up next is the starting support items, and now this is where it really gets interesting for these changes. Now, I'm glad these changes are coming, and I'm glad Riot's actually doing something to put their foot forward and change them, because right now, like Spellthief and Relic shield and stuff like that, I don't think it was seeing enough play. I mean, I know it wasn't seeing enough play, and they wanted to also change coin a little bit, but I also don't think they should have changed coin at all, despite it being very good. You can see here, the HP regen has been knocked off, and now you get 5 health whenever a nearby enemy minion dies around you to try to promote staying in lane. But I kind of feel that the starting ancient coin didn't need to be changed. I think it was a great starting item for a lot of passive supports like Janna. For instance, stuff you want to sit back and just kind of farm with. I think it was great. I think upgrading to Nomad's Medallion was fantastic. Even says here, it was probably giving you, tier 2 coin was probably giving you way too much gold, but I kind of feel like that was okay. I kind of feel like that was really good, and I feel like even with all that gold, supports still weren't doing anything crazy. They weren't like, oh my god, supports are just so rich. It's more like, well, Spellthief and Relic shield is just not as good, so why do you need to, nerf this a little bit or change it to promote this landing phase, even if it's giving you so much gold? Why don't you just bring these other two up to standard? So I don't really agree with the changes, with the knocking down of the HP regen and trying to promote you in lane, because lots of times the laning phases end early. Lots of times you can push your tower in, and now it's like, well, now I have this item, and it's kind of like, well, it's not as good because it's required that you have minions around for it. So I'm not really in favor of the coins change overall. What I think they should have done is just left it completely the way it was, because I think it was awesome. Spellthieves. Now, this is actually a really cool change, and I have to give Riot props for this. This is a really cool idea. I was actually planning on making a little video about what to do with Spellthief and how to implement it. But I think they've chose a really good route for implementation, if I even said that word correctly, of how to make Spellthief better. So they dropped the ability power out. They kept the gold per 10 and the MP5 the same. Awesome, that's great. But they added in your spells and attacks deal additional 10 damage to champions and towers and generate 4 gold. This can only happen up to 3 times every 30 seconds. The tribute is disabled for 12 seconds if you kill a minion. Pretty standard stuff, but I really love the changes. Spellthief is a lot better now, I feel. I think it's a really good starting item, and I think it's fantastic across the board. What I don't like, sorry, I gotta take a breath here, talking quite fast, is Frostfang, how it deals 15 additional damage and generates 8 gold. Okay, that's cool, but this still can only happen up to 3 times every 30 seconds. That's the only thing I don't like. Like the ability power is good, this is good, the gold per 10, awesome, 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 everything's awesome. But I feel like if I'm upgrading this and Riot's saying, hey, we want the Frostfang and the Spellthief and the Frost Queen to be like this offensive support item, so you can go these caster supports and not feel, like you're getting behind, or you're not taking an item, or you don't have as much value. So if you want us to have that, I kind of feel that, Frostfang and Frost Queen should get the same treatment that the Relic Shield and Targons get, where it actually increases charges every rank. I would like to see this from 3 to 4 to possibly even 5 stacks, because it's even in, if you upgrade to the the ultimate item, the Frost Queen's claim, it's still only 15 additional damage. And I don't really care about the gold. Gold is fine. Gold generation's good. What really bugs me is I don't think this is a good enough damage scaling into late game with the item. Granted, the changes are cool. The active is awesome. But I would really like to see, at least 4 stacks on the Frost Queens at, if you upgraded this item, because it is only additional 15 damage, and it is only 8 gold. I mean, you're still going to be most likely making way more gold with the Talisman and the Relic Shield. And granted, this is supposed to give you a little bit of offensiveness as well, mixed in with gold. But again, I still feel that the only thing that's going to really be holding back, this chain of caster support items is the kind of late game version of it. This I can deal with, awesome. I love the Spellthief, I love the Frostfang, but the Frost Queen, I feel like, again, it should have a little bit more incentive on the spell damage side. Again, just for better scaling for supports who choose to get this item. Yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. So, disregarding all the other stuff we just said, it does have a very cool active that got changed for the better in my mind. One of the best things about this is the increased cast range from 850 from 600. So 600 is, roughly auto attack range for a lot of champions, or ish around. And 850 actually gives you a lot of breathing room, we'll say. It allows you to get this off, cast it from a range that you're not kind of, the way I want to put this is, like, if you were casting this at 600 range, they're most likely already going to be on you, because if someone can auto attack you, they most likely can jump to you if they're melee, like Jax or somebody like that. I don't really know the range on it, but you understand what the point I'm trying to make. But this actually allows you to turn, cast the ability, slow them, use it to get away, or to even catch somebody that's trying to get away that's just a little bit farther out of your auto attack range, which is fantastic. And it's actually going to be changed from a free target instead of enemy targeted, and I'm not exactly 100% on what free target means. I'm assuming that's either it's going to be the little circle on the ground, or you're able to cast it on allies or enemies, so you can slow off of them, because it does do a little bit of a AoE area of slow, we'll call it. But actually, the area of effect size is going to be decreased to 300 from 400, which I can live with. Using it before, I was actually kind of surprised at how big of an area it's slowed. But I think this is a good normalization for it to make it so it's not like, oh my god, it's slowing everything, opposed to hitting like core champions that are grouped up together, or just trying to disengage with it. The cool thing again is it actually scales a little bit too. So this is one of the good things, despite this not scaling that well, he's still getting 3 charges with the fully upgraded item. It does scale a little bit differently now. So it's going to be base 50 damage plus 180 damage, 10 per champion level. So if there's a level 18 champion, you're going to deal 180 extra damage plus the 50. So there you go, which is not bad damage. Not amazing, but definitely not bad to use. And it's got updated particles. Woo, sweet. Whew. All right, on to the next one. Relic's Shield. I actually don't mind the change here, removing the HP regen, increasing the HP base, and actually being able to heal yourself for what you kill. I think that's a cool change. It allows you to, actually gives more incentive to want to kill the minions. They're like, oh, I got a charge. I not only can heal myself, but I'm not getting gold. So it's a kind of a dual purpose thing now. So you heal your ally, you heal yourself, and you get some gold. That sounds like a good deal to me. I actually really like that change, and this is more so of like a quality of life change to make it, more practical. And I really like that. I think Riot's done a good job of changing these items to make them a little bit more practical, and I really do appreciate that from Riot. It means they care. Targon's, the base HP regen. Actually, no, it's only been nerfed by 4 regen opposed to the 6 base off Relic Shield, so you still get 8 HP regen per second on the Targon's brace. That's the upgraded it. It's going to heal you for a little bit more, 10 damage or 10 HP more, and gives you a little bit more charges. So pretty much the exact same thing, but it does not actually grant you the additional 5 on life. Actually, that's from the PB, so it doesn't nothing really changed there. My bad. But the other big change here is Face of the Mountain. Now this is gonna, a little bit more incentive for late game. See, this is what I'm talking about with the Frost Queens. See, they add a little bit more to you, plus 1% of your maximum health upon killing a unit. So it gives you a little bit more HP returned, which is awesome. So I wish this little incentive here was like 4 charges here. I think that'd be awesome. I think I'd balance it out a little bit better. Anyways, the cool thing here is the active change. It no longer scales or no longer costs health to activate. So before it used to take 10% of your HP, so it would chunk yourself a little bit. You'd use that HP, transfer it over. That was kind of the idea. Now it's actually gonna, the damage is actually gonna scale 150% of the target's total attack damage. So it took me a little bit to get my mind wrapped around what this actually meant, and so it's like basically if you use it on your AD carry, it's gonna deal more damage around him. So if you use it on more like bruisers and AD carries and stuff like that, that's how you're going to get the most effective damage off, because you actually use it to shield somebody opposed to chunking yourself and then throwing it on them and just having it being kind of a little scaling thing. So now it's actually going to be more vital to use this on your AD carry and your bruiser, which is adding a little bit dynamic play for people to use it better, or yada yada yada. It sucks if you're an AP carry because it's not going to do that much damage, but that's okay. It's still going to shield you. What I really like about this 4.3 potential patch notes is the 400 gold total cost reduction from the Ruby Crystal, 475 to 400, and then 180 health to 150. I think this is a good, again, quality of life change, making it a little bit more easy to grasp. I even say in these notes, it's used for a lot of different builds. It's used for a lot of different things, and 475 gold is a little pricey at times. It's more than a Doran's, most Doran's, or it is more than every single Doran's item, and it can be a little bit pricey sometimes, especially as a support or anybody who needs to grab it. And I also enjoy the change to Sightstone here, which gets directly reduced in gold and a little bit of HP. I can live with a minus 30 HP, but I absolutely love that it's 75 gold cheaper. Those little bits of help that we can get, I love. I love all these notes in here for support, even though it sounds like I'm bitching about them a little bit, but I'm actually openly discussing them, and I hope you guys have your opinions too. I think this is a great change. I actually think this opens up getting Sightstone a lot more on supports, and I overall love the change. Doran's Shield getting nerfed, getting a nerf bat beat out of it right now. 20 HP down, 5 HP per 5 down. And they actually say here that it might be a little bit too harsh, the HP 5. I actually think it is. I think they could probably drop this to 6 Or actually, no. I would actually put it more around 8. I think 8's fine because you already knocked out 20 HP off the base. I think 8 regen is a more suitable, especially with the 80 overall basis. I think nerfing it by 5, cutting it in half, is a little bit dramatic for my taste. But I do agree that Doran Shield needs to get nerfed a little bit because, for the most part, a lot of supports are starting on it and they're not even grabbing any of these items. So this is a fantastic incentive for us to get these, support items, to go into lane with them, or even, hopefully can use some maybe cool kill lanes. Curse Academy was running that stuff, and hopefully open this up just more options bot lane, because the more viable options we have down there, the funner the game is, the more dynamic it is, and the more stuff we got going on. But that's really it for these planned itemization changes that I wanted to bring up. Just wanted to make little discussion video about it, tell you guys what I think about it, and now I want you guys to tell me about it. So you can leave a little comment below if you want. We can discuss it, but honestly, I like what Riot's doing. I think you should change a little bit of things, but other than that, good work, keep it up. I like to see what other changes you have, because it actually says in here that they got more to come. So can't wait. These are my thoughts. Peace out.